Unit 3, Learning Target 1C. I can find an inverse equation. I am writing on two separate pages for this this learning target. There are actually 4 examples. So if the video cuts off after example 3, I will post another example with example 4. Make sure that you watch all 4 examples, even if they're not on the same video. Hopefully I can get them to all be on the same one, though. So if you're finding an inverse equation, the word inverse makes you think do the opposite. Well, we've got 2 steps that are going to help us do the opposite and find the inverse equation. The first step is to switch x and y. The second step is to solve for y. So this is a 2-step process. Alright, in example 1, you'll notice there's not a y. So you need to know that if it says f of x, that just means y. Example 2 says g of x. Example 3 says h of x. All of those things are just y. So if it helps you, go ahead and write y equals 2x minus 4. That way you can physically see where the y is, where the x is. So our first step, you switch where your x and your y are. So instead of writing y, I'm going to write x. 2x becomes 2y and minus 4. This is step 1. Easy enough. Step 2 is to solve for y. So we got to get this y by itself. Well, to get it by itself, right now we've got minus 4, and we need to add 4 to get it away from the y. So right now we'll have x plus 4 and 2y. The next thing we need to do to get y by itself, since these things are being multiplied, is we need to divide by 2. If we do that, we're going to have x plus 4 and divided by 2, all divided by 2. And that's equal to just y. So this is step 2. We got y by itself. We write inverse by putting f and then negative 1 of x. This little extra piece means inverse. So instead of writing f of x like our original, we're going to write f negative 1 of x. And all we're doing is we're taking this and we're writing it with the correct notation. So f inverse of x equals x minus 4 over 2, which is what we got when we solved for y. That's how you find an inverse. Switch x and y, solve for y. Example 2. You need to know that g of x is just y, so if that helps you to rewrite it with y first, go for it. First step, switch x and y. X equals 2y plus 5 over 3. So there's step 1. We got to get y by itself. We'll let big fractions looking gross and might be a good thing to get rid of first. So since we were dividing by 3, we need to multiply both sides by 3. So we've got 3x on this side equals 2y plus 5. Now it's not a whole lot different from example 1. We need to subtract 5 because we had plus 5. So we've got 3x minus 5 on the left side and a 2y because the 5's cancel. Get y by itself, we need to divide both sides by 2. Our 2's cancel, so we only have y left on the right side and 3x minus 5 over 2 on the left side. So we write our final answer with that g negative 1 of x. And we're really just copying down what we had as our answer. 3x minus 5 all divided by 2. Final answer. Alright, example 3. Still doing the exact same steps, but the algebra, the math to it gets just a little bit more difficult. H of x is just y, so we'll rewrite it with just y. And first step is to switch our x and our y. Now, a lot of people don't know where to go from here because they know they got to get y by itself, but there's a 2 in the way, there's a 1 in the way, big fraction bar. Let's look back at example 3. The first thing we had to do was multiply by 3. And that's because that's what we were dividing by. So here we're dividing by y plus 1. To get rid of that big division sign, we've got to multiply both sides by y plus 1. Since we were dividing by y plus 1, we multiply by y plus 1. Those cancel now. So all we've got left on the right side is a 2. On the left side, we've got a y plus 1 and an x. Still working on getting y by itself. We've got 2 sets of parentheses, meaning that we're multiplying. So the next thing that we would need to do to get y by itself is to divide both sides by x, because right now we're multiplying this thing by x. That's going to cancel these 2 pieces and just get y plus 1 left. On the right side, we'll have 2 divided by x. Now the last step, we've got y plus 1, we need to subtract 1. Those cancel, so we just have y. We've got 2 over x, and we need to subtract 1. We're subtracting 1 from the whole thing, not just the top, not just the bottom, the whole thing. So this piece is step 2. Final answer should just be written with that -1 thing and the answer that we got here. 2 over x minus 1. Alright, so this is where I'm going to the next page. If the video doesn't work out, I'll post a second one with example 4 on it, but make sure that you get all 4 examples watched. Alright, so example 3 looks like f of x equals 3 over x minus 1. And then there's an extra minus 1 on the end. So first thing, if we want to rewrite it as y equals 3 over x minus 1, that might help some people. First step, switch our x and our y. So we're going to say x equals 3 over y minus 1 minus 1. Alright, we've got, again, lots of stuff going on in here. We've got a minus 1, a couple different places, division, a times 3, all kinds of stuff. Well, the first thing, the outermost thing, is this minus 1. So the first thing we would need to do is add 1 to each side. Now we've got x plus 1 equals 3 over y minus 1. And from here we look really similar to example 3. So if example 3 didn't make sense, try to zone in on this one. We've got divided by y minus 1 right now. So the opposite of divided by y minus 1 would be to multiply by y minus 1. So we write multiply by y minus 1 on both sides. These cancel. So on the left side, we've got y minus 1, and we're multiplying it by x plus 1. If you need to pause, take that in, see what happened, feel free to pause. Otherwise, we're going to keep moving. On the right side, we've just got our 3 left because those canceled. Right now, we've got two things being multiplied together here. We're trying to get y by itself. So if we divide both sides by that x plus 1, that's going to help because those are going to cancel. And all we have left now on the left side is that y minus 1. On the right side, we've got 3 divided by x plus 1. The last step to get these by itself, to get the y by itself, is to add 1. Y equals 3 over x plus 1 all plus 1. Write your answer with that negative 1 thing and just copy down what you had. So x plus 3 over x plus 1 plus 1. Okay, so looking at all of these examples that we've done, 1, 2, 3, and 4, hopefully you can see, oh, those kind of make sense. We just did the opposites. Switching x and y and then solving made us do the opposites. So like in example 1, we had 2 times x, but our inverse said, our inverse has divided by x, or sorry, divided by 2. We had minus 4. Our inverse is plus 4. With example 2, we were dividing everything by 3 originally, but here we're multiplying by 3. We had a minus 5, or plus 5, now we have a minus 5. We had a 2 times x, now we're dividing by 2. So hopefully you can see in each example how you're doing the opposites by switching x and y and solving for y. Please ask questions when you get stuck on your packet problems.